Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tatiana's Toolbox. Today, I am going to talk about Kundalini. Um, I have felt very inclined to talk about this for a couple of weeks already. Even though you can find in the spiritual community and in lots of other channels a lot of information about Kundalini, um, I would like to give here my perspective and tell you a little bit about my own story, my own Kundalini awakening. Because as more people are going to wake up in the planet to this energy, I think it's very important to have good guidance and understanding of what it is, at least at a basic level, because it can trigger a lot of things within you, and it's important to be supported and feel safe within this process. So, with this being said, I'm going to tell you about my own experience with the Kundalini energy. So, for those who don't know, Kundalini stands for, it's a Sanskrit word, stands for serpent, and uh, in the ancient traditions of the East, it would be considered to be like this: the rising of the awakening is the rising of the serpent. So it's like something that moves in like a spiral form up from chakra to chakra, from the base to the crown, in order to link us from um, to awaken our more multidimensional being, literally this energy that flows through. So I'm not going to go much more into the details of this. This is more like an analogy. The serpent is an analogy, so which is a great one. So you can look more in detail about what it is said to be in the ancient traditions. So I will leave some links below to information that you can find if you'd like to delve deeper into the meaning and the intricacies of this energy or this concept. However, here, what I'm going to talk about is about my experience with it. So it's a tangible experience that you can relate to if this is happening to you and you're having trouble dealing with it. So back in 20, when was this? In 2004, I think it was. Yeah, it must have been 2004. So many years ago. Um, I was living my normal, regular life like everybody else, stuck here in the 3D, and very randomly, I remember when I was a child, or more like a teenager. I remember reading a book called The Astral Body, which for a teenager is kind of strange literature to read, you would think, but I was very interested in these things. And I remember reading this book and not really understanding much, just very curious about this. And I remember that was the first time I saw the word Kundalini, because it linked the Kundalini energy to the awakening on awareness of the astral body, the astral planes, and being able to go into other dimensions consciously. Of course, back then I didn't understand this, but I thought it was interesting. That kind of stayed in the back of my mind. So, 14 years ago, I was in my home. No, I was not in my home. I was at a friend's home, and she had some books on the table, and these books, one of these books fell to the ground, and I picked it up, and it said Kundalini. It was a book by Gopi Krishna, and I just felt compelled to read it. I said to her, "Can you please lend me this book?" And I took the book. So I was reading through this book, and in this book, it's a testimony of Gopi Krishna, a person in India who was meditating his way through Kundalini Awakening, like really forcing it. And the book is all about how his experience was with this very, very strong energy, and how his body almost literally died because of the forced awakening almost. and how he dealt with it and everything that happened. So of course I'm reading the story and I'm, oh wow, this is really interesting. Again, not making much of it until a week, more or less a week after I had finished the book. I don't remember exactly, or a few days. I was sleeping peacefully in my bed, and then I started feeling this buzzing thing on the base of my spine, and it literally made this noise, like inside, like that's the noise it makes, at least for me. And it felt like a vibration with that noise. And I was sleeping, but I was aware of that happening. And this energy or this vibration started moving up, up, up until it reached my ears. And when it reached my ears, there was a strong banging from left to right, like bang, 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 like a metallic sound, very uncomfortable and very, very loud. And I was actually pretty scared, even though I was asleep. I knew it was not a dream. I was aware of what was going on. And well, that was the first night. Upon awakening, I was very, very afraid. Of course, after reading this book, talking about how the body was so affected, I was petrified and I did not know. I kind of understood that that was that. I made the direct connection, but I was really, really afraid because I could not talk to anybody about it and I could not say anything and I did not really understand how to navigate that. It was just happening without me doing anything in particular other than just going to sleep. So the second night I was very afraid to go back to bed. So I went back to bed that night and I just fell asleep. Second night, again, the buzzing. And this time it went a little bit higher and the ringing or the banging in the ears was a little bit less loud and a little bit more harmonious, less strong, let's say. But still, this was very, very unsettling thing. A lot of energy moving through. And then the third night, this energy went all the way through, just from the base all the way to the crown, and it exited the crown, making this noise. And it was very fluid. So instead of having weird banging noises, it was fluid, like I'm keep making the noise so you can identify with something. Fluid vibration with that noise went all the way up. And what happened after this awakening was that literally I started going consciously out of my body, like finding myself in these other realms or these other, probably the astral realms, and consciously. So very, very confused because I didn't know how to get back to what I thought was my safe place, basically my third dimensional existence and my third dimensional body. So my mind was very scared of not knowing how I found myself in these places. That it actually looked like my home, but it was not my home per se, and I couldn't speak because I tried to move my lips and they wouldn't move, and I tried walking, but it was very strange, the navigating the astral realms without knowing what it was. And there's many things that happened with this awakening when, that I could go into more detail in another video about like the astral traveling and what you find in other realms, in other spaces of reality. But the reason I'm talking to you about this now, 14 years later, it's that back then it was very difficult to even find information online or as much information as there is today. It's becoming a little bit more mainstream. I wouldn't say super mainstream, but today you type Kundalini and you'll find a myriad of sources to go to. So what happened then is that I had to do this process all by myself, figure it out all by myself, and learn through my own experience of having that in me and going through the fear and understanding what the fear was doing and all of this. But And this is like 14 years later, this is still happening, and I know now how to navigate this much better, much easier. And last night, or every time there are these huge waves of energy incoming the planet, I feel I'm just taken out, uh, and put to sleep hours upon hours, and I feel the Kundalini energy just going, you know, doing its thing. My being is doing what it needs to do. It's connecting to what it needs to connect. I'm not always fully 100% aware of everything that's happening. I'm aware that the energy is there. I'm aware of the energies that are coming. I'm aware of information that's coming, and it comes in different forms. So to not make this video any longer, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because if you come across this video and you're wondering what is happening to you, if you're having these experiences, and it's recent, it's new, the first thing you need to know is not to panic. And that's the first and most important thing, is to be in a space of love and trust. This is the divine, and it's your own divinity waking you up. And you have chosen this as a soul. So it's nothing to fear. I went through a lot of fear because I did not understand what it was, and it was extremely puzzling and confusing to be in different dimensions and places, and you could think that you would go crazy. So many people upon this kind of awakenings, if they're not guided properly, you could end up literally, in a mental institution, because you don't know what's going on. You think, yeah, I'm here, but I'm not here. I'm in other places, and what's going on all at the same time. And it triggers a lot of things as well. So know that if this happens to you, if this is something you're experiencing, however you connect to this information, know that you're not crazy, first. Second, that it is okay. It's the divine, so there's nothing wrong with it. And third, that there are lots of things that you can do in order to navigate this with more ease than fear or pain or whatever, just by doing little things like, first, taking care of your physical body, trying to eat light foods, so more on the plant-based side, because the more density there is in you, the more this energy is going to be aggressive in moving through. So of course you're not going to change your diet from one day to the next, but start slowly detoxifying your body so this energy can actually move through you with ease. So is needless to say, avoid alcohol, drugs, anything that's chemical, that's not of nature, from nature, and the least processed possible. So avoid whatever is super processed. So super processed foods or chemical things, whether you're putting them on your skin or eating them. This is going to facilitate that transition. And it's not to say, like, when my Kundalini awoke, I was still, eating meat and, and having a more like a regular life, even though I never really drank alcohol or any of that. So my body was probably a little bit more suited for this, I would say. I don't know. But if you're having these things happening to you because of the amount of energy that's coming into the planet, make sure to make conscious choices of what you're putting into your body. If you need some certain kinds of supplements, make sure they're all plant-based. So this is just recommendations. I'm not saying here that you have to do anything. It's just if you want to make it easier on yourself. So first and foremost, take care of your body, and also drink plenty of water, a lot of water. Make sure to eat things that are, if you need to eat a lot of food, do so. Sometimes during these awakenings, you may be prompted not to eat at all. but it's so much energy that's going through your system that you do need to keep your body healthy and strong. So that's very important, because this is the Kundalini energy is literally like a massive jolt of energy. So if your body, let's say, it's running at a, you don't can only take it's like an appliance like a hair dryer or something that can only be plugged in 110 volts, and then you plug it into 220, it's going to go poof, right? So your body needs to be upgrading as well. So make sure your body is coping with this by being as clean as possible from all kinds of toxic things. So that's along the body, right? The physical body. Mental body, that's the other. This is big because the mental body and the emotional bodies are so charged with a lot of stuff. And when Kundalini awakens, what it's going to do is going to burn through it. Like literally burn. It will throw you to the ground. It will make you sleep like crazy. It will make all these things come up. And it can be a very interesting process and not necessarily easy. So the more you stay you stay present with your body and what's going on, the easier this is going to be, because this can send you into spaces that you've never been aware of, and it will. So being very present with what's happening and being present with your thoughts, make sure you're having positive thoughts, emotions as well. Make sure you're able to stay as calm as you can. Do not under any circumstance give in to fear. So if fear is coming up, tell yourself there's nothing to fear and connect back to source. Understand that source is infinite, absolute infinite love, and that when you have source, you don't need anything, and fear does not even exist in source. It doesn't exist. So if you're giving into that, tell yourself, your mind is very powerful as well. Your mental body is powerful into telling you that everything is okay. Breathe. If you're having waves of fear regarding what's happening or beings or things you may encounter, breathe through it, and yes, know that there is no fear. You might experience fear, then that's why I'm saying this. So just don't give in to it. There's no reason, because there's nothing to fear. So don't give in to it. What else can I tell you of your awakening? So the physical body, mental and emotional body, make sure you're having nice thoughts and positive, staying calm and in charge of your emotions. You can do some meditation and focusing within, a lot of within. So if you're doing a lot of stuff outside, in the outside world, maybe take some time off to be with yourself and integrate this. Otherwise, it can be a very, very, very difficult process. And I'm saying this because it was very, very difficult for me, because I had no guidance and I didn't know what to do. So I just went with it like the rough way. So I'm telling you all these things to make it easy. So if you make these choices, eating well, meditating, taking time for yourself, this is something that you do not necessarily need to go and publicize out to the world either. Actually keep it more for yourself. Or if you come in contact with people that have had this experience, or groups that you feel are safe to talk in, by all means do. If you have questions, please feel free to post them in the comments section. I would try to answer them in a video or reply to you according to how much time I have in order to keep giving you some guidance regarding this topic. And yeah, so you're not alone in this. You're going to be supported, and the divine is supporting you. So if you were guided to this video, it's also for a reason. Or not, who knows. Anyway, I'm gonna stop here because I see it's already getting a little bit long. So thank you very much, and I love you all. Please, if you like this information, feel free to subscribe and share and tap the little bell for updates for every time I'm going to post a video. And as you may have noticed, all the artwork that I share in these videos is the artwork I create, um, which I do connecting to certain portions of consciousness and different energies and frequencies through the art of mandala, or the art of tapping into archetypal frequencies. Um, and I also shared with you here a fragment of a show I created, which has to do with the ascension process. In reality, the reason why I shared it with you, the portion I shared with you, it's because it's the portrayal of the Kundalini Awakening and rising, and the accessing of the multidimensional awareness, because we are all multidimensional beings. So the way I communicate as an artist to the planet also is through my artwork. So I create these analogies and metaphors to help people also navigate this process with a tangible, through a tangible form. So that's why I share my art with you guys. And I really appreciate you supporting, liking, sharing, because that's how we also start expanding this information with the rest of the world. So thank you very much and have a wonderful, wonderful day. I love you.